Fast food employees, what's one item on your respective chain's menu that you will absolutely not eat under any circumstances? I was a shift supervisor at a fast food place, and years later, I still refuse to eat anything with ice cream in it. The machine we had was always covered in mold and spoiled cream, while the owner's fix was to scrape off a layer of mold and spray some Clorox on it. It depends on the place and management. I used to work at DQ, and our manager was extraordinarily anal about cleanliness. DQ does random audits, and failing one is a huge knock against your business. Used to work at a small fast food place, and during training my manager got mad at me for throwing out slimy corn. She showed me how she would just rinse the slime off in the sink and put it back. I find corn suspicious now. I work at McDonald's. Nothing in my store is actually gross. We are really clean and follow procedures, but I wouldn't have a Filet-O-Fish with the sauce because the sauce makes a disgusting sound coming out of the sauce gun. I used to work at McDonald's, and seeing people say how terrible their managers are for food safety is so gross. We cleaned everything from the ice cream machines and pop dispensers and made sure all of our food was up to code. Probably because we ate it randomly throughout the shift, but it was still good. Did a month at Golden Corral during my senior year of high school. Roaches in the meat freezer. Roaches in the MEATFREZER. I was in a Wendy's drive-through line one night. Cockroaches actually climbed the car and were running on my windshield. I was so grossed out I left and mentioned it to a friend who lives in the area. "Oh, you mean the roach Wendy's? Oh good. I had been eating there once a week." Former back employee of 6 years here. The food was actually good if it was fresh. The issue is the staff/management. Sauce bottles would never get completely emptied and cleaned. People wouldn't change their gloves between doing different tasks, or would be texting with those gloves then make your food. Also, all the items that go into making your food, lettuce, cheese, etc., was all tracked via time stickers. Think a little clock. So if you brought out new cheese, the rules were it could only be left at room temp for 4 hours. If you brought it out at 12, you'd mark the sticker for 4 PM. At that point you should have thrown it away. Well, that never happened. Everything got stickers replaced to make sure they were always good in case of surprise inspection. Whenever I train people I gave a few rules to live by. If it's dirty, clean it. If it's out of place, organize it. If you wouldn't eat it, don't serve it. From a customer perspective, always order your food with a slight modification, like mayo. This will ensure your food is made fresh instead of you getting one that has been made previously to speed things up. However, can't guarantee the food it's being made with is fresh. I worked at a pizza place that was infested with roaches, especially in the back room, where we would leave the pizza dough out to sit. We would also find roaches in the ice maker, in the mechanical parts as well as the ice itself. If a restaurant has roaches, nothing is safe. I worked at a Quiznos with a roach problem. Every time the exterminator came, he'd tell the owner he needed to get rid of the boxes of papers on the shelves around the bread. He chose to keep years worth of paperwork in boxes instead of file cabinets. He would just get a different exterminator the next time. I nearly got fired more than once for throwing away bread bags that I found roaches in, not on. In. The back room had that roach smell. I'll never forget. Dairy Queen strawberry cheesecake blizzard. When the cheesecake gets slow you're supposed to fill it up a certain way, where the new cheesecake goes on bottom, and what's left of the old stuff is put on top, to ensure it's used first and it all stays fresh. Well, let me tell you, that shit is like a brick. After it's been in the container long enough, you constantly take it out and put it back, so it's always thawing and refreezing, and essentially freezing together. This is why absolutely no one rotates the cheesecake. I once dropped the cheesecake container onto the tile and the chunk in bottom cracked in half and came out. It had become almost like 98% mold. We'd been using it without rotating it for months. My bro managed a Wiener Schnitzel. Unbelievably, they catered lunch for a few local high schools, as did a Mises Pizza. The chili wasn't up to school standard, and they had to add more meat to it in order to pass LAUSD code. Of course they used old burgers, dogs, and expired ground beef from the freezer. Bro bluntly told me, never eat our chili. Took me too long to figure out that dogs are hot dogs. Took me too long to figure out that dogs are hot dogs. They're lying to you though, they don't even have 50% of real dog meat in those. I worked at Wendy's in high school. For me, that item is the chili. Whenever a burger is cooked, it is only considered good for a certain amount of time. So many minutes after cooking, and the burger didn't get used, it would be thrown in a bucket next to the grill. At the end of each shift, the person dumps all the old burgers into a larger bucket of old burgers which may or may not be covered. They also may be from days prior. Overnight they chill, the grease congeals, and the meat turns pretty grey and weird. This meat may not be frozen, but it is still pretty hard to break up. So the person making chili dumps it in a big colander, runs hot water over it, and mashes it into tiny pieces again. Now the soggy greyish lukewarm day-old burger meat is ready to be used in the chili. How is that allowed to be sold under any food safety laws? I'm not gonna lie, my McDonald's was really ducking clean, and we sold everything fast enough to where nothing looked repulsive to eat, especially when we went to the fresh quarter pounders and fresh chicken. All McDonald's comments I've seen so far have been unexpectedly mostly positive, which is a surprise. Guess they do it right over there. It's because they are notorious for protecting their brand and their franchises are heavily vetted. I once sent an email to ask that they remove the information on their website that a certain location had a play area pre-covered and they had remodeled and not replaced it. Not to complain, just a polite email. And I got a handwritten letter from the franchise owner, a non-boilerplate response from a real human being at corporate, and a $20 gift card. In and out, there's nothing I wouldn't eat. We always passed with flying colors with on-health inspections and took food safety very seriously. Yeah, I've seen into their kitchens, they do everything legit. I was actually a bit impressed seeing a worker take a whole damn potato and using a thing that turned it into fries. That said, I think they are a bit overrated taste-wise. Like good, but not as much as some people go crazy for it. A bit overrated taste-wise is a fair statement. The amazing part about In-N-Out isn't the taste, it's how it's fresh and clean and fast, and isn't more expensive than other fast food places. Reading through this, I realize how tight the Burger King I worked at in the mid-80s was run. None of the shit I've read on this thread happened. If we pre-made anything, depending on the perceived rush, it was marked with a time and correctly after 20 minutes it was trashed. We cleaned the shit out of that place every night when closing. The biggest thing we did, if at the end of the night we had a burger or fries that just got old, we maybe didn't throw it away but ate it. WTF is going on in today's world? The employees from the clean stores don't comment here, only from the disgusting stores. So I'm a rat guy. I block them out of restaurants. I was doing my thing one night, and the restaurant owner is on the phone, trying to get his fryer filter repaired. He told me he'd been trying for weeks, but the co was booked solid. I've got a degree in engineering, so I said I'd check it out. I managed to get it apart, and get a look inside. Inside were 2 large dead rats, or what was left of them, bones and fluff mostly. They had gotten the machine via the purge pipe, and got stuck inside. So for probably a month or 2, all the fried food from this establishment had been cooked in oil that had been filtered through 2 rotting rats. My college buddy worked at McDonald's for a while and told me he would never order the McRib. I don't remember the specific details, but he mentioned in general that, if you didn't order during the lunch/dinner rush, your food had probably been sitting under a heat lamp for hours. I think his issue with the McRib was, in addition to heat lamp issues, the BBQ sauce covered up any problems with it, so you couldn't even see if anything was wrong. He actually had a bunch of tricks and tips for McDonald's that I wrote down. It's 15 years out of date, but I could try to find the old file if there's interest. Edit, apparently there's interest. I'll share the key points. To make sure you get a freshly cooked patty, not a problem. If you order during a meal rush, ask for your burger with no salt. That guarantees they'll cook one fresh for you, and you can later add salt yourself. This also works for the sausage McMuffins. For egg McMuffins, you can request something weird done with the egg patty, like pre-mixing it with ketchup. There's a rule for how long something can sit under the heat lamps, but no one follows it. If you're not ordering during the lunch or dinner rush, you should assume whatever you get has been sitting out for hours. The two items he 100% approved were the McSalad shakers, because they are pre-packaged, and the grilled McChicken, healthiest sandwich on the menu. He said under no circumstances should you get the fried McChicken. Milkshakes are fine to get, but be prepared for pockets of unmixed powder. You should probably use the no salt trick on Filet-O-Fish as a ground rule. These notes are from 2006, so some of the stuff may have changed since then. Now I feel like I should get a part-time job at local restaurants, just to make sure they're not serving anything disgusting. I can quit the job every month and go to a new one. That is called being a health inspector. They switch more frequently, but literally no one ever complains to them 99.99% of the time about issues besides the regulars. See Parks and Rec sprinkler scene for the type of people and newscasters when they get the reports, rather than the Health and Safety Board. They follow up on all claims, at least decent ones do, like any job. Essentially, if you suspect food poisoning, talk to them and say, hey, I was here ordering X at X time and I think I might have food poisoning as a result. Can you possibly look into it? I worked at a Subway in my senior year of high school. What disturbed me was how the tuna came packaged in a big metallic bag to keep it fresh, I guess. Then when we had to take it out, it would make this squelching noise. And because I made so many subs, completely put me off from eating those sandwiches ever again. Having to prep the Subway tuna made me more comfortable with eating it. Not sure why a vacuum sealed bag is worse than canned tuna. Meatballs are probably the worst menu item for me now. Meatballs are heated from frozen in a microwave, then left to sit in a bath of hot water to keep warm. Supposed to be thrown out after 4 hours, but I would sometimes start a shift and see the bag I made yesterday still sitting there on slow days. I work at a McDonald's. While there isn't much that I won't eat, I just have stupid low standards for food. There are some riskier things to eat. There's a reason that the ice cream machine is down outlet. Sometimes it's for legit maintenance, other times though, it's to clean out the mold that likes to grow in the liquid mix. I only found out after a year, was filling it one day and looked down. The stuff I saw was nightmare fuel and ruined me on their soft serve for a while. I had said something about it. First shift will get it tomorrow, duck that place. I currently manage a red colored fast food place. The only item that I will not eat on the menu is the breakfast burrito. Everything else is cooked fresh in the store except for that item. Other people are claiming other items are bad due to poor waste control practices, but I always tell my employees, if you wouldn't pay for it, do not serve it. Emphasis on the pay for it. People pay a premium for our food compared to arch-based or crown-based places, so they better be getting quality food. I would rather someone wait 1 to 2 minutes extra for fresh food than serve substandard products. Sir, this is a Wendy's. Cleanliness and not serving bad food varies from store to store. The Taco Bell I worked at took pride in our cleanliness and we followed food safety rules. During downtimes we'd get lent out to other stores. We came back from some, and we were all dude. Never ever eat there. We always passed the health department inspections with flying colors. The only points we ever got taken off for was once not realizing that they had changed how far off the floor shelving had to be and our sprayer nozzle was too low. Considering the inspections were always a surprise, that's pretty damned good. Used to work at McDonald's. Nobody ever ordered the crispy chicken. I've had it sit in the warmer from opening to changeover. Then from changeover, when I ended my shift. Maybe it depends on the location, but the odds of getting one that's been sitting there for an hour or two outweigh the odds that the table and grill people remembered it existed and changed it out when it started looking bad. That and the gravy. Shit smelled like dog food and looked like glue. I didn't have a single coworker who liked it. I might just be biased against it since it took forever to make it. And if I thought, oh, we have enough to finish out breakfast, I'd be wrong. Every single time. I'll never order it close to changeover and have someone have to make a gallon they'll end up using one scoop of. Ham on pizza. Worked at Pizza Hut done time ago, and the ham would turn this disgusting grey color within a day or opening the package. You just couldn't tell if it had been opened 24 hours ago or 2 weeks ago. But during cooking it returned to pink, which always weirded me out. Once ordered 2 slices of ham pizza, something like pizza to go, and ended up throwing away almost everything because you could tell it was disgusting. Fast forward maybe 1 to 2 days, I had been throwing up all day and then had been in a hospital for about a week. I always think these two events were somehow connected. I used to work at ChickfilA, and I'd eat everything on the menu. Everything is cleaned and wiped down spotless as soon as we closed at 10. Maybe not the coffee, only because the blend is absolutely disgusting. The owner of that location doesn't even like it. Ex-CFA worker here too. I wouldn't eat the soup or the coleslaw. Never saw anything wrong with them, but they were universally regarded as gross by everyone who worked there. Just big gloopy vats of food. Carrot and raisin salad was suspect, I think mostly because of seeing how much mayo went into it. Our store was clean though. I work at a fast casual Badger style Mexican grill place that is a smaller competitor to Chipotle. I'm the lead cook and make every protein, sauce, bean and hot item in-house with fresh ingredients. That being said, our most popular protein is our sweet pork. For a single batch of pork, 60 pounds, I will use close to 10 pounds of straight white sugar, 3 gallons of Coke and 3 pounds of butter. The shit tastes like duck skin candy and is crazy addictive. There are folks who come in every day and get double meat, 8 ounces, slather it in queso, and get shredded cheese on top. I'm pretty damn sure I'm contributing to their eventual death by cardiac arrest. Edit, the place is called Costa Vida. I'm actually pretty proud of the food I make, but I can't bring myself to eat the sweet pork for the above reasons. Anything made with the roast beef at Arby's. It's not a real beef roast. Instead, it's a compressed block of beef scraps. It comes in a bag filled with beef broth, and you just warm the entire thing in the oven for a few hours. And once the compressed beef block is heated, you put it on the slicer and leave it under a heat lamp for hours to slowly desiccate. Edit, man, this brought back some bad memories. You also should avoid the breaded chicken patties, they've probably been hanging out in the warmer for a while. And the bacon is hit or miss depending how long it's been since they microwaved a new batch. If it's been sitting for a bit, it'll be limp and chewy. I worked for Noodles & Co for a few years and I would honestly eat everything on the menu. The sauce ingredients come from a corporate kitchen and get combined/made to order. The veggies were prepped fresh twice a day or more, if needed, and tossed at the end of the day. We pulled out all the kitchen equipment and scrubbed constantly. I've been fortunate to work in restaurants I wasn't embarrassed by for most of my working life.